Hey there guys, this is Blue. So I do have a few more bot showcase, bot tip type videos I wanted to do, and I decided to spend some Energon to buy some sparks to rank up Dirge, because I never used Dirge in the old game at high rank. I never had him maxed out. So decided to take him up to rank 5 for fun. I also use Deep Wounds. I have it at rank 4, and Deep Wounds greatly benefits Dirge. So just wanted to do some gameplay and go over him if you've not used him, or if you're still playing and you want another bot to have some fun with. Dirge is a really fun choice. So let's go ahead and take a look at Dirge. So I've got him maxed out in terms of rank and sig. He's not forged up yet, but he is a very fun bot with a few very specific strengths. His sig is excellent, especially at higher level, right? So every time the opponent misses a melee attack while under the effect of fear, which they will often be under the effect of, he gains 60% attack for 5 seconds at sig 100, and it also reduces the chance for the opponent to remove fear by 10% until the next time fear is removed. Now, even at low sig, this can be quite useful, but 60% attack is a lot, and the great thing about this sig is that you can apply this over and over again, because the opponent will be under the effect of fear a lot, and all they have to do is miss a melee attack. And if you're a reasonably or a very good player, they're going to miss attacks quite often. So you can just kind of activate the sig repeatedly. You get this huge attack boost over and over again, right? So his kit is all about his fear, really. Everything kind of stems from that, as well as his very strong bleeds and his own version of anti-evasion, all right? So as I'm sure you know, every time you fight Dirge or use Dirge, the opponent starts the fight with fear, every time. And every time the opponent blocks, backdashes, or sidesteps 3 times before hitting Dirge, they are affected by fear, okay? And so the only way that you can remove fear without purifying it, and we'll talk about that, is to hit Dirge with melee attacks, right? So light melees have a 20% chance to remove it, and mediums have a 40% chance to nullify it. And this is one of the things that I like about Dirge. I actually think Dirge is a great option for less experienced players, because he's one of the few bots in the game that directly rewards you for not getting hit, right? So if you're using Dirge, he's a great bot to practice with, because the opponent will not be able to remove fear unless they're hitting you with combos, right? And so, you can just practice dancing around the arena, and then they don't remove fear. And then, of course, while under the effect of fear, Dirge has a 36% increased crit rate, which is significant. And then, of course, every 10 seconds, while the opponent has fear, they are given a bleed that deals 140% attack over 2 seconds. So this is a very strong bleed, one of the strongest in the game, and it's also brief. And of course, you can apply it over and over again, right? Because you can apply fear, right? Remember that fear is applied every time they block, backdash, or sidestep a few times without hitting Dirge. They're going to do this pretty often, and again, if you're not getting hit, you can apply fear over and over again. And so you can apply these very strong bleeds over and over again. And on top of that, there's a very strong defensive ability to fear, which a lot of people forget, right? So if the opponent is under the effect of fear, if they backdash or sidestep, they have a 36% attack debuff placed on them for 5 seconds. That's a lot, right? This is why sometimes when you're fighting against Dirge, it can seem like he's kind of tanky, because if you're under the effect of fear, you're not able to remove it, right? You backdash or you sidestep, you get that attack debuff, your attack goes way down. And so this is very beneficial when you're using Dirge. And so on bleeding opponents, right, if you're able to hit them while you're bleeding, which you certainly can sometimes, you have an extra 30% crit damage and 10% power gain. So even though they're only bleeding 2 seconds at a time, like I said, you can apply those bleeds over and over again. You get that extra damage. His specials also correlate very strongly with fear, right? So the special 1, 30% extra damage if the opponent has fear. The special 2 deals burn. It's not the strongest burn, but it will apply it every time. And of course, if the opponent is under the effect of fear, the burn will be 60% damage over 8 seconds instead of 30% over 4 seconds. So it's a much stronger burn. And then his special 3 always applies fear. And the great thing about his special 3 is that it's a 30-second fear, which cannot be removed in any way. And the bleeds that are inflicted from this fear deal double the damage. Now, this is a great special to use for long fights. Now, obviously, there's not a whole lot of long fights in the game. He'd be fantastic to use in certain LOC-type fights if we had that. But in general, in long fights, whenever you do get a chance to do them, the special 3 is excellent for that because it's really long, it can't be removed, and it's going to deal a lot more damage. Now, like I said, using deep wounds is really great with Dirge because it just makes those bleeds even longer and stronger. And he's just very fun to play with. And like I said, he does reward you for not getting hit, which is, a pretty unique thing. There's only a few bots in the game that have that sort of direct correlation. Now, his anti-evasion is not traditional anti-evasion in the sense that he does not prevent evasion, right? But of course, when they backdash, when they sidestep, when they evade in their own way, right? They're going to have fear applied to them. They're also going to get that attack debuff. So they are penalized, right? They are kind of punished, if you will, for evading attacks. And so that comes in very handy as well. And so, if you like bleed bots, Dirge is really fun to play with. It is a simple kit, but, he's all about his bleeds and his fear. And the interesting thing, too, is that it's very hard to purify fear, which is one of the things that makes him very annoying to fight against, especially that AM Dirge on 1.2 can be really brutal, especially at higher levels because his bleeds are so strong. Because you have to remember, Grimlock does not purify fear itself. He will only purify the bleeds. And because the bleeds are so strong and short, they're 2 seconds, Grim's still going to take 1 tick of damage before he purifies. TC can purify fear, but only with his melees. He doesn't purify fear with his heavy. Again, he'll only purify the bleeds with his heavy. At Sig 100, TC will have a 20% chance to purify fear with melees, which you will do sometimes, but not all the time. Ironhide can purify fear, but you have to stand there and hold down block, which is annoying. And even if you do purify fear, it'll often come back very quickly when you start to backdash or sidestep or whatever. Sunny, same thing. He only has a 20% chance to purify with range shots. Things like that. You can use Beast Wars, but it's the same thing. If you're going to use, Primal against him, you can get some healing using Primal, and you can purify the bleeds, but, you have to time it very accurately because the bleeds are so short. So the point is that if you're using Dirge, it's very beneficial to you because it's actually pretty hard for any opponent to remove fear, including purifiers. And like I said, in most cases, the opponent has to hit you a lot in order to remove fear, because that's the other thing about Dirge that's really great if you're using him, but really annoying if you're fighting against him, which is that you only have a 20 to 40% chance to remove fear with melees, right? And so sometimes if you're fighting against Dirge, you land full combos, you don't even remove fear. And by then, you're probably going to eat some bleed, which if it's a very strong Dirge, like in AMs, that's going to be a ton of damage. So again, if you're using Dirge, even if you do get hit by melees, they might not remove fear, which is beneficial to you. In terms of synergies, he doesn't have many individual synergies. It's really just with Ramjet, right? So Ramjet can give Dirge the ability to land this very brief half-second stun when they backdash or sidestep while under fear. It is very brief, but if you use a mastery like Stupefy, it can elongate that, which I am doing now. Makes it a little bit longer. He has a synergy that he gives to Ramjet. So even though Dirge doesn't really have his own synergies. It doesn't really matter because he benefits from the Decepticon synergies like Seekers, like Hand of Chaos, the Fallen, etc. So you can just put him on Decepticon teams, etc., and you'll get some excellent synergies that way. So as I've said, guys, I'm semi-retired, so I'm still playing some, and I'm just kind of doing interesting things. So since I had not used Dirge hardly at all in the old game, I thought, why not rank him up? Which I've just done. I did this yesterday, and it's been really fun just kind of playing around with him a little bit. So I will do a few more of these videos, on a few other bots that aren't super widely used, just to give some tips for people that are still around and still having fun playing. But otherwise, I hope all of you are well, guys. Do let me know if you have any questions, and we'll speak soon. Take care.